Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. I did say if I did come across another breakdown of stage 3 and 4, the new stages for part 2 of the Wicked Bloodline edition Red Zone, I would do a video on it, and we have found them. We're on Luca Dokkan's Twitter, so I will leave his link in the description down below for you if you want to check out for yourself. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you're new. But let's start with stage 3, which I beat with relative ease, which of course sees you starting out against the Freezer 4 soldiers. Then you take on, which for the first time in Red Zones, first time they've done this, you fight 2 bosses at once, which is of course Mecha Freezer and King Cold. So starting out, as we already know if you've seen the video and done it yourself, the Freezer soldiers are extreme, of course, AGL, int and strength. It seems their values are all different as well. The first one has 12 million HP, 8.8 HP, and then 8.5 mil HP. Then 100k on basics, 95k, then 93k. 4 attacks per turn, then 3, then 2. 28% chance to do 2 less attacks, 9% chance to do 1 less attack. That's a really big drop off, by the way, but still. The minion phases are never really that difficult, and then 5% chance to do 1 less attack. To be fair, they only do 2 attacks anyway, 2 and 3, so kind of makes sense to balance it out. Then 40,000 defense, 38,000 defense, and 37,500 defense, and then 50% damage reduction. And okay, the other two have 50% damage reduction as well. 250 on a super attack. Oh, and the other two can't super attack you. I didn't notice that. I just thought I was relatively lucky to not get super attacked whatsoever in the first phase. Okay, so only the AGL one, the one who has the most values, can actually super attack you for 250k damage, which for Red Zone standards is kind of standard for the minion phases, but nothing at all, especially when you consider how much defense you have when someone supers, and then not only that, also with units that have damage reduction and guard. It also does seem that you can dodge and you can counter all of these phases as well. So maybe they left that in because of course against Broly and Shenron you couldn't do that, and we all knew how hard Broly was. So maybe now on a lot of these stages, even though that may change when the last 2 phases do drop, of course stage 6 being the hardest, maybe now they're leaving in the fact that you can dodge and counter, because one, it makes it not easier, but it makes it a little bit easier. It gives you more options to use. Not only that, maybe it was kind of balanced the difficulty as well, and also you can actually take advantage of dodge outside of just Super Battle Road and ESPR. You can still dodge, you can still evade, you can lower all of these guys' attack and defense, you can seal, you can stun them, all those type of things, but this guy is the only one who can super attack you. These two won't. So that means the first phase is actually relatively easy, if I'm being completely honest. Then moving on to the stage or phase 2, which is of course against Mecha Freezer and King Cold. So Mecha Freezer himself, you cannot lower his attack, defense, seal, or stun. King Cold is the exact same, however he will seal you. Okay, that also makes sense, because once I killed King Cold, no one was getting sealed. So only King Cold can do the sealing, Freezer could not. So maybe your game plan when you go into this is kind of have units that can beat extreme tech and also fizz. So obviously you take units that are int types and strength types. They kind of counteract each other. They've done that on purpose. One can basically counteract the type advantage that you could bring for the other. But still, depending on the unit, they should still be fine. But maybe the game plan is just kind of get rid of King Cold as quick as possible, because that way your units won't be sealed. Because he also does have the potential to seal 2 of your units on rotation. Found that out firsthand for myself. So yeah, the game plan is probably get rid of King Cold as quick as possible, then focus on Freezer. But you can't lower attack and defense, seal or stun either of them. King Cold can seal, you can dodge and evade. But Mecha Freezer specifically has 38 million HP, 280k on basics, 5 attacks per turn, 13% chance to do 1 less attack, 71,000 defense, 60% damage reduction, 784k on a super, which, to be fair, isn't that high. But one thing I did say is because this is the first time we're facing 2 bosses at once, maybe they will have like 1.5, 1.6 plus million on a super. But essentially they're kind of, split. Combined would do that on one boss. Like Broly does like over 1 million by himself, whereas these two are kind of over 1 million joint, which makes sense. Oh, no wonder I recognize the graphics. This is also made by Raspy. So I will leave the link in the description down below. Struggled there. Leave the link in the description down below for both Luca and Raspy. especially because it's Raspy who made this. Absolute shout out to the guy, what a king. But yeah, 784k on a super, and he has a max chance of super attacking once in a turn, and he has a 21% chance to super attack you. Then we have King Cold, who has less health, 34 million health. I see. So it looks like King Cold is weaker than Frieza. However, of course, he has the annoying thing, which is Seal. He has 34 million HP. He does 265k on a basic. Attacks per turn are 4. He has a 22% chance to do 1 less attack. He has 73k defense. Actually has a little bit more than Frieza defensively. Same damage reduction at 60%. Does 742k on a super attack. And he can only do 1 super attack a turn. He has a 30% chance to super. And he guarantees seal. So it is guaranteed. I was actually really wondering that. Is it guaranteed that he can seal you? And it is. And I said, he actually sealed 2 of my units. So that is something you do have to watch out for. I said the game plan is probably get rid of him as quick as possible so you don't have to worry about sealing. Then just go to town and go to work on Mecha Frieza in terms of getting rid of him. But when I did it, I'm not gonna lie, I used Cooler's team and it was actually relatively easy. The sealing can be a little bit annoying, especially for sealing Cooler, which he did, which means I couldn't greatly raise his defense whatsoever. But he was taking double digits on a basic. I used an item just in case we got supered. And, you know, we ended up being relatively okay. As I said, this one wasn't that difficult, but I can see where the gimmicks come in for the, you know, adding a bit of a challenge. But that is stage 3. In terms of stage 4, oh, it's only the 2 phases. Okay. So it starts off against the robot soldier and then just meta cooler. So no core, no meta cooler army, Frieza soldier, meta cooler. Okay, so the first phase is Extreme Fizz, then you face off against Extreme AGL. Maybe stack up on tech units, just because there's no type disadvantage for you. So you can't seal, you can't stun the robot. However, you can lower his attack and defense, which is nice. And once again, you can dodge and evade both of them, and also counter. So the robot starts off with 18 million HP, hardly anything at all. 300k on basic, you know. Okay, so he doesn't have that much health, but 300k on a basic straight away. 10 attacks per turn as well. 8% chance to do 1 less attack. He has 80k defense, 60k damage reduction. Reduces damage received by 50% from all types except for strength types. Wow. Does that go on top of this? Because naturally bosses have built-in damage reduction anyway. But he also has damage reduction on all types except strength types, so of course the robot's weak against. And of course they've done that because if you take too many strength units, Cooler then has type advantage to then absolutely batter them. Wow, so that means even some of the stronger units are probably, I'm not going to say struggle, but even though the robot doesn't have that much HP with the damage reduction, it's going to take a little bit of time for you to get through this phase. That does allow you also time to stack up with like gods and stuff, and then have them ready for Cooler, who then they can just absolutely destroy while having built up attack and damage, not damage reduction, built up attack and also type advantage. And then also there's the LR Tech SJ Goku, who will be stacking up defense the entire time and then have type advantage against Cooler. And then of course the revive. And then of course you have Easy A Tech God Goku, who wouldn't have his damage reduction here, but will have it here. So he's still a shout to bring. But damn, that's a lot of damage reduction. 750k on a super attack as well. I mean, that's not bad, but that's still quite a lot. That is pretty much most teams' health. And again, you're going to be in this phase a bit longer considering all the damage reduction the robot has. Damn, this one might be slightly challenging. Like you generally might have to be careful here because of all the damage reduction. Because with all that damage reduction, it means you're in this event longer than typical, or you typically would be in a red zone stage, and you could be caught by this. Not only that, lowers attack and defense by 20% for 3 turns. So this guy has damage reduction, and he lowers your attack and defense by 20% 3 turns. But you can lower his back, so there is that. He will super attack once per turn and has a 14% chance to super attack. Damn. Hey, that's different. Oh, Jesus Christ, and Cooler jumps up massively. So once again, you can't lower attack and defense, you can't seal, you can't stun. He also recovers HP. What a scumbag. Oh, really? Really? You're the final boss and you want to cover HP? Dick. Absolute dick. But he jumps up massively. 55 million HP. To be fair, this guy has 18 million HP and loads of damage reduction. Whereas Frieza doesn't have like extra damage reduction. He just has loads of health. So that kind of makes sense. But 55 million HP, 450k can be done on basics. He does 9 attacks per turn, 12% chance to do 1 less attack, 90k defense, 64% damage reduction. He can do 1.26 million on a super, which is not the craziest we've seen, but of course it's still a lot. Oh, you son of a bitch, you metal bastard. He may not have damage reduction, he may not do the most on a super we've ever seen. However, again, it's still a lot of damage. But he stacks defense. So not only can he do 1.26 million on a super, which is still a lot. Not only does he have HP recovery, which means you could potentially be in there longer, but he also stacks his defense, which means if he supers a lot, not only can you potentially take a lot of damage, and if you survive that or someone tanks that like God Goku, he's going to get bulkier and bulkier. Luckily though, unlike Frieza the little menace before these 2 stages dropped, he can't super attack more than once in a turn. Because imagine if he'd done that twice, that would be devilish. However though, the HP recovery and the stacking defense and 1.26 mil on a super is still dangerous. He has a 20% chance to super attack and he recovers 13% HP starting from 90% HP or less. So it's not the most, but still, HP recovery with the fact he can stack defense can probably be very annoying. So even though there's only 2 phases, you would actually kind of be in this phase for a little bit longer, like relatively quite like long. Probably similar to the fact, or similar to a phase, or sorry, a stage that has multiple phases rather than, or more than 2 phases, shall I say. Because this guy has loads of damage reduction, unless using a strength type. And then not only that, this guy has the stacking of the defense and HP recovery. So yeah, stackers might be good here. As a tech gods, they could go off here. You could build them up for a while and then just go off on Cooler. Lord knows you're going to need it. I mean, damn. I mean, that is both the new stages completely broken down with all their details and what they do. Let me know what you think down in the comments. As I said, I will leave the link in the description down below for both Luca and Raspy. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Good luck with your red zone attempts, and push!